Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 483. Happy Monday. Super Bowl is set. We're going to talk about it. Hobby implications, Rams, Bengals. I'm going to share some of my own Super Bowl memories. Delicious coffee this morning. What else is there to talk about today? I'll be making my Goodwill run. Zach, good morning. Jenny, good morning. The 500 pounds of trading cards that I purchased on eBay from Goodwill. So I didn't want to pick them up last week because I had already loaded my vehicle up with my card show inventory, and it was freaking cold last week. So I didn't want to trek out. I've got to go all the way to the east side, which it's funny because I grew up like in a no stoplight town, 800 people, where everybody knows your name. We had to drive 10, 15 minutes to the nearest stoplight town that had a drive through in a Walmart. And then to go to like the big city like Moline, Davenport, the Quad Cities, it was, 30, 40 minutes. So now it's like 30, 40 minutes. Like I'm not driving 30 or 40 minutes because I can drive 2 miles down the road and literally everything that I would need is mall, Best Buy, Target, Walmart, Menards is. And speaking of relativity and memories, I want to talk about Super Bowl memories, and I'll dive into that. But shipping from with the card show inventory. I'm getting a lot of connection unstable. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi lately. It was a good run. I had a good run, and now it sucks again. So gonna pick that up today. So gonna pick that up today. I will document the journey of 500 cards with a short YouTube series. I'll probably make a quick video later today and post that up before I go. And then I'll put some videos together as I go through the cards. So that's coming up today. Speaking of YouTube series, Nostalgia Breaks episode 3 is out. I ripped the Charlie's Angels pack. I just figured I took a few minutes yesterday. I think it was right before the Bengals. The Bengals. Who did the Bengals play? Now I forget. Oh, the Chiefs, of course. Before the Bengals Chiefs game. So I recorded that video. That is up. So check that out. Charlie's Angels break. Dan, what is up to you? So that's posted. I'm not sure. I'll try to squeeze in another nostalgia break video at some point today. I'm not sure when or if. Of course, I said that yesterday. Usually I say I'm going to do it, and it's like, oh, procrastination. And yesterday it was like, I probably won't get to it. And I did. So we'll see. It actually didn't take that long. And with Charlie's Angels, and I mentioned this in the video, Charlie's Angels isn't really nostalgic for me because the pack was from 1977, gum intact. I threw the gum away. But I don't have like memories of Charlie's Angels because I think it was probably off the air by the time I was either Charlie's Angels. The pack was from 1977. Yeah, so it was off the air by the time I was born. Looks like it last aired on the last episode aired on June 24th, which is late for TV. Usually, I think now the season ends. Well, actually, and I just read this because of Ozark. We finished the first part of Ozark last night. I'm going all over the place this morning. So, and I read this. They broke it up into 2 parts so they could capture this one season 4, in 2 Emmy years. So, by releasing part 1, the first 7 episodes, now they're eligible for this current year's Emmys, which the deadline is May 31st. So that's why we have May sweeps. And apparently we didn't have May sweeps back in 1981 if Charlie's Angels was still airing new episodes into June. So I was not born when the last episode. So TV talk. So that's why they're breaking up. So they said expect part 2 of Ozark after May 31st, but at some point before 2023. Um, so I found that interesting because we finished, my wife and I finished the last episode of Ozark that's released last night. And it's like, well, I wonder when part 2 is coming out. So Google it. I found that article. So that's interesting. Howard Hessman died. Yeah. He was Johnny, was it Johnny Fever? WKRP in Cincinnati. What a great, did they make WKRP in Cincinnati cards? Because that would definitely be a pack I would love to rip open if they made WKRP in Cincinnati cards. And I was uh, with people who were in radio in the late 70s and early 80s, and they said this is, and actually, it's funny, even though it's dated late 80s, WKRP in Cincinnati is 12 years ago. That's kind of how radio was when I worked in radio. We had wild, wacky characters. Some like Herb Tarlick. I worked with guys that were, used car salesmen, like in the sales department. Um, I did work with one guy who was Johnny Feverish. His name was Greg. He was a hippie. I think Howard Hessman, Johnny Fever was his idol. I could have wrote a book of his quotes because they were just wild, out there, wacky. So WKRP in Cincinnati, much like radio. And I didn't work in like a big city. I worked in small market radio, and we still had those wild, wacky TV-like characters who I worked with. Shaw Cards is with us. Good morning. Zach says, suggestion. Now that you were doing a series on the 500 pounds and your nostalgia rips, you should consider making playlists so people can find those easier. Oh, that's a great idea. See, I don't do YouTube very well. I don't know how to run YouTube and a YouTube channel. I just hit record and upload. So I'm going to have to do a little digging and find that playlist. I like that. That's a great suggestion. I'm going to look into that. So yeah, so that's what's going on. Maybe do a nostalgia break later today. We'll see. Dan says I was a Lonnie fan when I was young. I was definitely a Lonnie fan when I watched WKRP in Cincinnati. Jacqueline Smith. I was talking to the guy, and I may have shared this yesterday, but we were talking about Farrah Fawcett or Jacqueline Smith. I don't know. See, I didn't really watch Charlie's Angels, so I don't even know their care. Most like Topanga, Kelly Kapowski. Like I know the character names, and it's kind of, everybody goes by their names. But Charlie's Angels, and well, even Lonnie Anderson with WKRP. I can't remember what her name was in the show. Jenny says, has anyone had to reprint an eBay label before? I can't find the option. Yes, it's very annoying. I've had to do it a few times, and it is annoying. I'm going to try to go and do, let's see. Let's see. If you go into shipping labels, it's very tedious. It's very annoying. So if you go in eBay, selling, and then orders, you can days. I don't know. So I just printed a label yesterday, and then so it shows the items, and then it says actions. There's a drop down, and it says reprint label, print another label, print packing slip, and I think it's print another label, reprint label, and print another label. Isn't that the same thing? Like, to me, that means the same thing. Reprint or print another. Like that's the same thing. But I think I print another label is what you have to choose. I always see, this is why I need StreamYard. I could just bring my up. Let's see. Been watching Honeymooners episodes on YouTube. I remember watching like on Nick at Night way back in the day, like in the 80s. So Super Bowl is set. Bengals and Rams. Now, I was rooting for a Bengals 49ers Super Bowl. However, I really didn't care. I would have been happy with either the 49ers or the Rams. 49ers got the edge for me because of my Garoppolo connection. Jimmy Garoppolo, and I talked about this, his brother played at Western Illinois when I worked with the football team. His family sat right in front of our booth. Jimmy wasn't, he was, let's see, I'm thinking Jimmy was in high school. I remember him being at a couple games, but he was just a high school kid. And I remember it's like, oh, yeah, Mike's brother, that's Mike's brother, Jimmy. He's a decent quarterback, but we didn't recruit him. And he went to Dan's alma mater, Eastern Illinois. Um, so I had that connection. And I kind of rooted for the 49ers were kind of like my second favorite team back in the day because of Joe Montana. I was more of a Joe Montana fan than I was a 49ers fan, but I rooted for the 49ers. So, and I remember my first Super Bowl memory was Super Bowl, I think, what, 23? Yeah, 89. Yeah, 89. 86 was Super Bowl 20. I love that Super Bowl 20 for the Bears, so I can easily do the math. So 3 years later, 23 was in 1989. Bengals, 49ers, Joe Montana versus Boomer Esiason. You had the Niners had John Taylor and Jerry Rice. They had Roger Craig. The Bengals had the Icky Shuffle, Icky Woods. My first, I kind of remember the Bears Super Bowl, Super Bowl 20. I was only 3.5 years old. Now, scientists say you can remember you remember memories as early as you were like 2.5 years old. But like I don't really I have memories of like growing up because we moved into a different house when I was 4 or 5. And like most of my memories that I can like recall are from the new house. But I also remember I have some memories from the first house I grew up in, which is where Super Bowl 20 was. But by 1989, I'm like 7. So now that's when I first remember cards. Like I have little bursts of memories of 86 Tops football, and then I remember 88 is when I opened my first packs. And I remember having like cards around, but I don't really remember getting into it until I was 7 in 1989. So Bengals 49, that special place. I remember it was the first Super Bowl that I can remember watching. In fact, my older cousin came, we picked him up, and he like stayed the night. So what's up, Herman? Good morning to you. Sometimes I can't remember yesterday. And that's the funny thing with time because um, it's like I'm a hoarder, as you can see behind me. So in 6th grade, we kept a journal for like a writing class, and I still have it, like handwritten, notepad paper stapled together, and like I don't remember any of this stuff happening. Like remember like when somebody asks remember something from 6th grade, and it's like I'm not going to remember like the day-to-day monotonous stuff. And the older we get, the more memories we have, and we forget a lot of this stuff because we've got new stuff that comes in. So I'll go through and I'll read every once in a while when I'm cleaning out boxes in the basement. I'll come across like went to the movies and saw Grumpy Old Men, and it's like, oh, I remember. And much of I can remember much of like that weekend or evening, night. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. But just out of the blue, it's just kind of pushed aside because it's not really it wasn't really a stimulating event, whether good or bad, that kind of sticks in the front of your memory. So anyway, Bengals 49ers was kind of rooting for that, but I didn't care if the Rams, because I used to be a Rams fan. Like there were a few years I was probably a bigger Rams fan than I was a Bears fan, because I would go watch training camp in Macomb. And then when I started in radio, I started working in radio in Macomb, and I covered the Rams when they were in St. Louis. I covered the St. Louis Rams for 2 seasons, and just got to know the players and rooted for the Rams. So it's like if they win now, they're in LA, so it's a little different, and It's a completely different team. But it's like, yeah, I have that Rams background. If they win, that'll be cool too. Um, and then the Bengals, of course, I wanted the Bengals to win just because they haven't won in so long. I think their last playoff win was 1991 before this year. And then their last Super Bowl was 1989, the 88 football season. So was rooting for the Bengals. I really wanted the Bengals to win. It would be fun to see Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes does like he's fun to watch. And I say, I wanted the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl because Tom Brady, like he's the GOAT. You want like the greatest to play in the Super Bowl. Like it's an event. And Patrick Mahomes is like must see TV. Like he can do some amazing things. So I wouldn't have been disappointed with the Chiefs, but I would have been disappointed because I really wanted the Bengals to win. So I'm glad the Bengals, and it was a great game. Like I watched the game. I didn't really watch much of the 49ers Rams game. I watched maybe the first quarter. But it sounded like it was the Bengals Chiefs game was awesome. Really liked it. That was tough. I saw the clip of that. The greatest are playing in the Super Bowl. That's why they're there. They beat everyone else. Well, it, it's a team sport, and there's individuals on those are superior. You know, give me Patrick Mahomes over and Joe Burrow, even though Joe Burrow had a game individually, but collectively as a team, they're better. At least they were yesterday. So, what hobby implications are there? So, Evan McPherson, the kicker, now 2 playoff games in a row, including one to send his team to the Super Bowl. Evan McPherson kicker cards are going crazy. I found one. The quarter box I bought in Rockford at the Rockford show earlier this month had an Evan McPherson like green parallel that I sold for $17.50. Earlier this week, it's like, oh man, what if it didn't sell? Well, I wouldn't have repriced it, so it would have sold at some point. But I don't want to. It's probably $25 or $30 by now. Joe Burrow cards. Seen some Joe Burrow snapshots of what his cards are going for. And selfishly, I don't have any big Joe Burrow cards. I probably have Evan McPherson cards, but they're buried in common boxes. But I do have a lot of rookie cards of T. Higgins. And so I was selfishly wanting T. Higgins to have a big game. And actually, I think he did. I think he had over 100 receiving yards. But I was like, oh man, if he catches the game-winning touchdown pass to send the Bengals to the Super Bowl, man, his cards are they might sell for $1.50. I've got 12 in my eBay store. None of them sold. I'm like shocked. Maybe if he has a big game, they'll start moving. So as I peruse my future quarter boxes, I'll pull the T. Higgins. For the Rams, you've got Matthew Stafford cards are on the rise. I sold a Chrome Refractor when he was with the Lions, an earlier card, 30-year card maybe. Sold for like $5 earlier this week. So you've got Matthew Stafford. You've got Odell Beckham, wide receiver for the Rams. He's kind of having a renaissance season. And then you've got some similar to T. Higgins, guys that are kind of like Gabriel Davis, where they were rookies, but nobody really wants them. Van Jefferson and Cam Akers. So I have a lot of Van Jefferson, Cam Akers, T. Higgins rookie cards because people throw them in quarter boxes and throw them in common boxes, and I've just accumulated many. So selfish reasons. I'm kind of hoping one or more of those players has a great Super Bowl and does something, and I can move some of them. So weeks. This is like the dead week. This is like college dead week, where you're coming off the championship games. You're gonna dissect the championship games for a couple days. Then you're gonna start just kind of talking up the Super Bowl, and the next week you get the media days and Super Bowl week and all that. So will be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Bengals Rams Super Bowl. I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I think people are digging the DB who dropped the pick. Oh yeah, and I saw he had a tweet last night. That sucks. Expectations for Jimmy G shouldn't have been too high anyway. So yeah. So I did not see your Jimmy G question. What was your Jimmy G question? Um, was it about the sack? Um, yeah, I mean, it's just it's so hard. I mean, you can't really you, you can't in the moment in the game, like you have to just be the I mean, so many things, and you can pick apart, especially in a close game. What was the final score? 3-point game. There's in a close game like that, you can pick apart, and we always look at the last play or the last couple plays. Um, but we ignore the first 3.5 quarters of play. And so many decisions and so many bad plays happen through the course of a game, but it's just under a magnifying glass in those final minutes. And that's unfortunate, especially for, like Garoppolo's decision at the end, or the dropped interception, because in the second quarter, it's just another play. But in the final minutes, it's just highlighted. And it's unfortunate that happens. How mad do you think fans and teammates are about that? I don't think because teammates understand. Like teammates, they're within the lines, so they know. And every one of those guys on the field has made a bad choice at one point on the field, and probably and maybe off the field. But they know, like, yeah, is it like, why did you do that? Like in the heat of the moment, competition, there's gonna be that, oh, why the hell did you do that? But at the end of the day, they realize, hey, I've messed up. I've lost a game before. They know it. Fans not as forgiving. There's a lot of losers out there on social media. So it is what it is. Mahomes looked like a bad Kyler Murray. Yeah, Mahomes, and this isn't just kind of the opposite of Garoppolo's one poor. Well, he had more than one, but the one that's highlighted here, uh, Mahomes. And I didn't watch the 49ers Rams game. I just watched some of the highlights. The Chiefs Bengals game I did watch. Down the stretch, like Dan says, fourth quarter and overtime, Mahomes did not look like Mahomes. He was he was forcing it. He mentions Kyler Murray here in the comment. He did. He looked like an inexperienced quarterback, you know, playing too hard and making poor decisions, because it wasn't just one or two, it was several down the stretch. And it wasn't just, a couple plays in overtime or in the fourth quarter, it was throughout the second half and into overtime. He looked forcing it. He was pushing it too hard, and it was impacting some of his decision making. It was wild to see, because you don't see that out of Patrick Mahomes very often. So that was crazy. I didn't watch the 49ers Rams highlights because I stupidly went on Twitter and saw Ivan's poll of who will win the Super Bowl. There you go. I did I was like, it's hard to like stay off. Like, I don't know how some people like stay, like, I'm always on, like, I probably should have a shutdown period at times. But some people can like the internet for like a day. They record a whole game and stay off social media and watch the game and replay. I can't do that. Like, if I miss a game, I don't think I've ever recorded a game and watched it back. Like, I've watched games, like game 7 of the World Series. I've watched a few times of the Cubs and Indians. But I was definitely watching it in real time live in 2016. But I don't think I've ever recorded a game and watched it back later without knowing the outcome. And that's just not my style. Like, I would rather just miss the game and watch the highlights than watch the game in totality without knowing the outcome in replay. Um, but I did that. I successfully, well, not really successfully. The Royal Rumble, I fell asleep before the Royal Rumble match on Saturday, and so I wanted to watch it without knowing. So I guess with wrestling, uh, so I wanted to watch it without knowing the outcome. And I was on Twitter and I tried if I saw like Royal anybody talk. Most of my people, like I have a few like wrestling fans on Twitter, but most of it's like sports. So there's not much, it gets kind of buried. But I did see a couple tweets that didn't spoil it, but kind of did. Like I saw somebody say Brock Lesnar, and I'm like, oh, scroll down. So I kind of, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I have a feeling Brock Lesnar is going to win the Royal Rumble. And sure enough, he was number 30 and won the Royal Rumble. So there was a couple like spoilers where it didn't, I didn't completely read what happened, but it alluded to what was going to happen. Herman was hoping for Chiefs Rams. Jenny, I did not stay awake for Cubs Indians game 7. I did. Here I yawn. Here I yawn. My coffee's low. Probably brings back memories because there was a couple games. There was one game that didn't end until like 2 a.m. One of the playoff games that series or that season, that playoff season. In the game 7, 8, and of course I not only did I stay up and watch the the game and the extra innings, the post game, then I turned on the scanner app. I was listening to the Chicago Police Department scanner until like 2, 3 a.m. after because people were down at Wrigley and celebrating, and it was crazy. Why was Twitter so filled with wrestling Saturday night? Was it like was the Royal Rumble was Saturday night, so that's why there was more wrestling talk on Saturday. The Royal Rumble is kind of like so WrestleMania. So in wrestling, in pro wrestling, WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of pro wrestling. Royal Rumble is probably like like the AFC. If we're gonna keep it on football, the Royal Rumble is like the AFC NFC Championship week because, and I guess for a couple of reasons, it's like the second best pay per view in most people's opinion. Some will say SummerSlam. I don't agree with that. I think it's Royal Rumble because, secondly, Royal Rumble is like the play-in, the winners advance Mania, like the gets the main event title shot at WrestleMania. So it's very similar to the AFC NFC Championship game where, hey, this weekend you get to go to the Super Bowl. And that's what Royal Rumble is. You win, you go to the Super Bowl of wrestling, WrestleMania. So it was basically, yeah. What sucks is back in the day, in the 90s, you only had 4 pay-per-views, and then 5 with King of the Ring. So you had like a buildup, like you had buildups to each pay-per-view. So Royal Rumble was end of January, and then you had the buildup February, March, and usually the first week in April was WrestleMania. So you had this 2-month buildup. Now you have pay-per-views in between. You have a February event, you have a March event, and then you have WrestleMania. So it kind of gets watered down, and I hate all these big events. But anyway, that's just cranky old um talking wrestling. So that's what I had for today. Just wanted to talk about Bengals, Rams, Super Bowl. I don't even know what Super Bowl we're on. Is it like 50? See when was do hand math? 76, 86. Yeah, so 86 was Super Bowl 20, 96, 2006, 2016. Wow, Super Bowl 50 was 8 years ago. Wait, no, 6 years ago. So Super Bowl 56, am I doing my math correctly? Super Bowl 56. Wow. So coming up in 2 weeks. So yeah, might get to a nostalgia breaks later today. I'm not sure. Let's give it a poll. Let's all 6 watchers, whoever's in the chat, you pick the pack today. Okay? I've got a whole bunch to choose from. So if only one person chimes in, that's the winner. If multiple, we'll take it. Maybe we'll have to do a tiebreaker. Guys, we won't be on tonight. Myself and Ken have both had deaths in the family. Herman, I'm sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that. My thoughts with so let's do you pick the nostalgia break pack. Okay, so I've got Shop of Horrors, Supergirl, uh here's Bo Derek. Let's see. Dick Tracy. Let's see. 21 Jump Street. Let's do a pick of one more. New Kids on the Block. So let's pick one of those 5 or 6 that I laid out. So who wants? We got New Kids on the Block. So pick one of these 6 packs, and this will be the next nostalgia break. So either New Kids on the Block, 21 Jump Street, Dick Tracy, Here's Bo, Supergirl, or Little Shop of Horrors. So we've got 1 vote for Jump Street, 2 votes for New Kids on the Block. Okay, so let's see. Can we get any more votes? Little Shop of Horrors, Supergirl. Herman's going to vote for Dick Tracy. We've got Here's Bo. We've got 1 vote for Dick Tracy. We've got 1 vote for 21 Jump Street. We've got 2 votes for New Kids on the Block. So, Dan, only one of your votes counts. Going once. Going twice. Herman, you can't vote twice. But I'll eventually get to both 21 Jump Street and Dick Tracy. New Kids on the Block. We're going to open New Kids on the Block. That's going to be the next nostalgia breaks. So I'll try to get that. Since I did this vote here this morning, I'm going to do, actually, you know what? I'm going to go into the other room. I'm just going to do it right after I go off here before I start. Just to keep, so I don't like, oh, I didn't have time. Sorry. So Herman, New Kids on the 89. I actually did. This is nostalgia. I actually did open some New Kids on the Block packs when I was 7, 8 years old. So that's going to be on. I'll publish that later today. 3 episodes of Nostalgia Breaks are on my channel. Zach, thank you very much for the recommendation. I'm going to do some playlists, so it'll be easier to decipher. So Nostalgia Breaks, I'll do a channel. Episode 1 was 1988 Topps Football. Episode 2 was Alf. And episode 3 I just published yesterday was from 1977, the oldest pack that I think I have 1 pack older. I 76, Charlie's Angels. So by the way, somebody commented, I remember when those packs were $5. I bought I showed them off yesterday, like 15 packs, and my dealer gave them all to me for like for $25. The Charlie's Angels packs alone sell for 25 to 30 on eBay. It's like, holy cow, I got a deal on these. I published that, get that released. So thanks for tuning in. I'll also be publishing it's going to be video heavy today. I'll be publishing a video on my Goodwill purchase. So I'll do an introductory video that I'll release at some point today, and then I'll start doing some footage when I go pick up the collection today. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great Monday, and we'll chat tomorrow.